Let's get into this. What is going on, everybody? I'm Nikki B. Holla. I run, I lift. I'm currently training for the 2024 Boston Marathon. My goal time is under 2 hours and 50 minutes. I think we're going to do it this year. I feel great. I've been working really, really hard. That's me. Today, I'm talking my top 10 running gear. I've been thinking about this video for so long. I think it's a super valuable video. I've been so excited to actually make it, and I'm finally making it. It's funny. Sometimes I think of an idea. I know it's going to be awesome, and I'm so excited to make it, and it takes me, like this one, a month to do it. These videos are my way of challenging myself, of getting outside of my comfort zone, and I encourage you to do the same. Find something that you've been thinking on for however long and go take steps to make it happen. That's what I'm doing today. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about running gear. I want to put a disclaimer on this video before I start. If you followed me at all, you know I'm not a big running gear guy. In fact, I believe I've said in the past, you don't need shit to run. All you need is some shoes, whatever clothes you got on, and you can go out and get it done. I believe that. I still believe that. However, I do think there are pieces of gear, things you can add to your assortment of goods around you to greatly help in the process of training for a marathon, training for a half marathon, whatever you're doing, even if it's just running every day to be healthier, happier, all that good stuff. So I've broken up this gear video into 3 parts. Number 1. Must-have gear. As you can guess by my disclaimer, this category is small. There's only 2 things in there. Number 2, should-have gear. So this is stuff that you don't need. And I want to be very clear, you do not need this stuff. I'm living proof of it. I'll give you some stories along the way of why I believe this is true. But it's stuff that if you really want to take this seriously, if you really want to go for a Boston Qualifier or whatever your big goals are, they're going to help you a lot along the way. All right. So that's number 2, should have. Category number 3, nice to have. Don't need to have, shouldn't, you don't have, you don't need to have it. It's not necessarily going to make or break your training. However, very nice to have, and I'll explain why those are helpful. Let's get into it. Category number 1, must-have gear. Like I said, there's only 2 in this category. First,
it's the number 1 must-have gear that you need to run real good.
You probably could have guessed. You must have an everyday running shoe. These are the Saucony Kinvaras. I've been running in these every day since 2019? August 2019, I got my first pair of the Kinvara 10s. These are the Kinvara 14s. I think they're excellent. They have a low drop, meaning the heel is not much taller than the toe. They're very light. They're extremely comfortable. All of that makes for a great everyday running shoe, in my opinion. And they're cheap. I get them on Amazon, and I just look for whatever color is the cheapest at the time. I've gotten them for $50. These I spent $80 on. They're shipped to me Amazon Prime the next day. Love that Prime. And they're just great shoes. They last about 300 to 500 miles for me. Usually when I see some holes or something sprouting up, that's when it's time for me to get a new shoe. I go through them every few months, I'd say, and they've been my solid everyday runners. Here's why these are in the must-have category and something like a racing shoe is not. I ran a 2:52 marathon at the Austin Marathon in 2020 in these Kinvaras, my everyday running shoes. I didn't even know what racing shoes were at the time. You don't need carbon-plated racing shoes. What you need is to go out every day, work really hard, and get in better shape every day. and these will help you do it. That's why they're my first number one must-have gear. Number two must-have gear. Shit, they're over there. One sec.
This is the number two most important piece of gear. It's not like number one, it's not the most important, but it's still very good for you.
Bam! Whoa, that was probably loud. Bam! Yes, these are vitamins. Are vitamins running gear? I don't know. But these have been a game changer for me. I'm almost embarrassed to say the first few years of running and training very hard, 6-7 days a week, lifting as well, playing basketball, being very, very active, I wasn't taking a multivitamin. I would get sick all the time. 2, 3, 4 times in a 16-week marathon training block. It's just like way too many. And when you're sick for 2-3 days and then you're running with the after effects of being sick, having a sore throat, having a cough as you're running, it's 15 degrees in Colorado, it doesn't work very well. So I started taking these about 4 or 5 months ago. I've never felt better in my entire life, and I'm training harder than I ever have. I realized 2 things about getting sick while I'm training. Number one is I'm not eating enough, so my macronutrient profile is not full enough. I'm just not getting enough food nutrients into my body to sustain all of the calories I'm burning and everything I'm demanding of my body. But number 2, and the much more subtle area, is I'm not getting enough micronutrients, vitamins, in my daily diet. So the supplementation of vitamins has been huge. I put it as a must-have because if you're going to push your body hard, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body as well. Of course, we can stretch, active recovery, all of that, but we need to be ingesting the right foods and vitamins to sustain a healthy training block. That's why those are must-haves. I'm going to throw this in there too. Super Beats. This video is not sponsored by Super Beats, but I do love you, Super Beats. I just started taking those about a month or 2 ago. I'm running faster than I ever have. Maybe it's all in my head. I'm not sure, but I've been taking them every day. I really like them. I feel great. So I'm going to throw those in there, Super Beats. Maybe that'll be in the next category. I don't know. But give them a try. The vitamin specifically that I take is this Thorne Multivitamin Elite. They're a little pricey. They're about $70 for a month's supply. I take them twice a day, morning and night. But like I said, they've been a game changer for me. That's worth the price per month, in my opinion, especially while I'm training very hard. I know they also have a normal multivitamin that you just take once a day. If that works better for you, if that price point, I think it's like $30, is better for you, go with that. I think the point is to get some sort of multivitamin in every day. Boom. All right, what do we got next? All right, let's roll. Okay, we're moving on. Next category, that was must-have. This is should-have. I'm not saying you have to have any of these things. Some might be hot takes, but I'm going to explain my reasoning for each. Let's get into it. First, should-have. Boom. A GPS watch. And a lot of you I know are probably saying, and maybe upset, I need a watch. How do I track my runs? I understand. And look, I'll tell you what. Whoa. This makes it much easier to track your runs, to understand how far you're running, to get an idea of your heart rate, your pace, all of that. I totally get it. What I'm going to say though, I ran a 2:53 marathon at the Boston Marathon in 2022. I ran a 2:52 marathon at the Austin Marathon in 2020. I didn't wear a watch for either of those races. What that tells me is, do I need it? No, I don't need it. Should I have it? Is it nice to have? Yes, absolutely. My first year and a half of training, I didn't wear a watch. I would map out my run. I would go on that route. I understood how far it was. I would time myself, have an idea of the total time for that run and how far I went. Is that ideal? No, I'm not saying that. And don't get my words twisted here. If you can afford to have a watch and you want to have one, go get one. What I'm saying is, do you need it? Absolutely not. What I said in the previous category, what you need is to go out to run. That's the most important thing you can do every day to improve, to hit your goals, to get where you want to get. The watch helps a lot though. I highly recommend getting one for sure. I'm just not saying it's necessary. I have a Garmin Forerunner 245. It's a pretty old watch. I think my mom got it for me maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I started using it 3-4 years ago. I use that in connection with Strava. Awesome app to track my runs. Pretty basic setup. I'm looking to, upgrade in the future. If you have any recommendations for a watch, for a tracking app, let me know. But right now, this has worked for me. Very basic setup. That's what I use every day. Okay, next in the should have category, Mr. Foam Roller. I think foam rolling, any sort of muscular manipulation, is that what we'd call it? Massage, foam roll, massage gun, lacrosse ball, anything like that, I think is super important. I heard once, if you're having like you have a rough spot on your body, let's say your calves are really tight, you're feeling a little knot in your calf, something like that, spending 10 minutes, just focus minutes, really digging into that spot, working through it to try to release some of the muscular tightness in that area helps a lot. I do that all the time. Foam roll is one great way to do that. I love to do it before my runs, after my runs, at night before bed. Big areas for me. My quads get super tight and my calves get super tight. Now, you can't hit every spot with the foam roll. That's why I also have in this category lacrosse ball. I think is huge. I roll out my feet specifically with the lacrosse ball, or any area I want to target very, very specifically, like maybe a glute med back here, or I have this fancy ball. I used to just use a softball, but my boy Dre gave me this in Chicago this past year. Thanks, Dre. Shout out. This thing's great. It's kind of like the middle ground between the lacrosse ball, which is super targeted, and the foam roller, which is more broad. I love to use this on my calves, my quads, and my glutes. Gets everything really loose, really works things out. I promise you, you spend 5-10 minutes rolling around on this thing, you're going to feel better, more loose, more relaxed afterwards. That's why it's in my should have category. Moving on. Ooh, this one's important. Let's go. Okay, moving on. Again, I don't know if this is gear or not, but you absolutely should have it and you should use it. And it's been a game changer for me as I've utilized these various forms of pre, during, and post-run nutrition. So, my next my next piece of gear is pre-run, post-nutrition. If you've been following the channel, you know Tailwind. I love it. Here's the lemon flavor. Here's the berry flavor. Tailwind is awesome. It is a carbohydrate and electrolyte mix that you put in. Wow, that's a horrible explanation. It's a carb and electrolyte mix you put in water. It's delicious. It's mild tasting, meaning it's not super sweet like a Gatorade or something. It has a nice taste, but not crazy. It has a great nutrient profile, and it's very carb dense. 2 scoops of Tailwind. I can put in about 20 ounces of water. It's 50 grams of carbs for me. I think it's around 600 milligrams of sodium. 600 milligrams of sodium. This stuff is awesome. I use it before a lot of my runs, especially if I'm just a little hungry, but of course you don't want to eat a big meal or any food really before you run. I love to just mix a scoop or two in water, sip on it 30 minutes before I run. I use it during my long runs. I use it during my marathons, and I will slam this stuff after runs as well to begin the recovery process, get back sodium, electrolytes that I lost sweating while I run, and carbohydrates, of course, to keep my glycogen stores topped. I love this stuff. I can't express enough how impactful it's been to my running and how much it's helped me. You know, if you're going for a run anything longer than 45 minutes an hour, you want to be fueling a little bit to keep your performance high. If you've noticed, you go for a 8-10 mile run and the last 1, 2, 3 miles are hell, it's probably because you're losing energy, you're losing glycogen quickly, and you just need a little top off. And I promise you, those last few miles will feel much better. You'll have higher performance, and ultimately all your runs are going to be higher quality. Can't recommend Tailwind enough. I'm going to just go through all the nutrition that I like as part of one should have category. Wow. This is my box of goos.
It's a box and it's filled with goose, yeah.
See it? These are just energy gels that I run with. Here's why gels are great. You can carry them in your pocket. They have a great nutrient profile. They're easy to get down. And especially when you're running fast in a race, you don't want to be carrying a bunch of bottles of water, of Tailwind on you. That's just my personal preference. So in a marathon, I'm taking 6 or 7 of these in my pockets. I'm eating them every 30 minutes or so. I have one before my races. On long runs, if I don't want to carry a bag or a vest or a bottle on me, I just take a few goos, wash them down with a water fountain around town. They're huge. And I think if you're going to be running anything longer than an hour, 90 minutes regularly, like once or twice a week, get yourself some gels, whether it's Goo brand. Martin's are great as well. Those are the only two I've had, honestly, recently. I hear a lot of great things about the spring gel as well. And then there's like a chia seed one too, I think. Anyway, get yourself an energy gel. They're great. Do you need them? No, you don't need them. But they're awesome to have, and they will amp up your performance, especially in that hour-plus range of running. Last, check this out. This is the meathead in me coming out. I used to take this stuff in college. Serious mass. It sounds serious because it is serious. Let me show you the size of this. Like most people, I think have had. Most people have had protein powder before, and it kind of has like a little scooper, you know. Look at the size of this scooper. It's hilarious. Look at this thing. This is like a cup. Serving size for this is 2 scoops, mind you. One serving, or a serving, 2 scoops, 1,250 calories. All this is really is a blend of protein powder and carbohydrate powder. Like I mentioned before in this video, I would get sick on the regular, like literally like every 3 weeks. I was getting sick. And one realization, other than the vitamins and adding those in, is I wasn't eating enough food, especially after my runs. A lot of times I don't have a huge appetite after runs. Sometimes you finish running, you got to go, hang with your family, do something else. I totally understand. This is a quick and easy way to get a bunch of calories back very quickly after running. So in addition to maybe hitting some Tailwind after a run, I'm mixing up this serious mass with some whey protein powder in a big shaker bottle, and I'm getting about 400 to 700 calories back pretty quickly. Carbs, protein, which is exactly what I want after a run. That's why it's in my should have category. If you find it hard to get calories back, boom, serious mass, give it a try, or any sort of carbohydrate dense powder. It could be like I don't know. Just serious mass has been good for me. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's go. All right. This next should have item is actually a piece of gear. It's not food or vitamins. It is. Bam. Let me get these. Let's get these going. Check those out. These are Nike half tights. They are specifically the Lava Loops Nike Trail half tights. I believe you can get them on Nike.com. They're awesome. I started using half tights about a year and a half ago, and I can't go back to shorts. I wear shorts, obviously. I only have 2 pairs of these. It's not like I have a closet full of half tights, but they're so much easier than shorts. They keep everything just tight in your lower body. You don't have things flopping around like in your pockets and stuff. These have 3 pockets in them as well. I wore them for the Boston Marathon and the Chicago Marathon last year. I wore them for the Austin Half Marathon earlier this year, and I'm wearing these for the Boston Marathon this year. I can't say enough good things about half tights. I just think they're great. And I think you should get yourself a pair of half tights. These are the ones I recommend. If you have any you recommend, holler at me. I'd love to get my half tight game more diverse. Last, where are these? Last should have in here, again, this is another piece of gear. We're moving in the right direction. A good pair of running socks. I love Balega brand running socks. My mom got me a pair of these 5 years ago, and I kid you not, I got 2 pairs from my mom, a gray pair and a blue pair. They're both dirty and smelly right now. I ran the 2020 Austin Marathon in the blue pair. I don't know if I ran any races in the gray pair. I can't remember. But I wear them on the regular, at least once a week, every single week since 2020. That's 4 years ago, and I'm still wearing these running socks. They're excellent, and I cannot recommend them enough. I get it, $18, $20 for a pair of socks. That's a lot of money. I just want to be clear. I've been wearing these socks for 4 years, running at least once a week in each of these pairs of socks. They don't have any holes in them. They're still great, and I still love them and wear them on the regular. Can't recommend Balega enough for your running sock rotation. I have some Nike socks, and I got to say, I'm throwing them away. They got holes in them after a year or two. They're thinner. Balega, what I like as well is they're a little thicker. It's all about what you prefer, but I recommend Balega. Get yourself a good pair of running socks. They're huge. Taking care of your feet and maintaining good hygiene with your feet is so important, especially when you're asking so much of your feet running a bunch. Next, nice to have. I have three. I have 3 nice to have pieces of gear. This category, I don't know. Take it, leave it, whatever. Do you need any of these things? No. Should you have any of these things? No. They're nice to have. I've enjoyed having them as part of my gear list. The last one is a surprise. So it's actually in a box over here. I've used them in other places, but I've never had one. So it's over there. We're going to open it at the end. All right. First, nice to have. Yep, there it is. Freeze. Massage gun. I got this about 3-4 years ago from a friend. I didn't use it a lot back in the day. And lately, I mentioned earlier, finding like if you have a trouble spot, my calves can get pretty tight, especially after speed work. If you find like you're getting sore or tight in one specific area, using a massage gun and just drilling into that area for 4 or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, while you're watching a movie, while you're watching a movie, watching a show, whatever the case may be. I use them on work meetings, honest to God. I'll just, put myself on mute. I'll be sitting and I'll just kind of work out my calves as I'm listening and taking in a work meeting, whatever. Very helpful. I don't, I think it's similar to massage. I don't have the means to get a massage once, twice, 3 times a week. I would love to do that. So this is my alternative. I've really made a commitment to more body work this block, meaning spending more time being kind to my body, working out problem areas and trying to stay loose and limber. This is one thing I've been doing with that, and it has helped. So I recommend it. I think it's great. It's a great addition. I know they're expensive, a couple $100, and that's why it's in my nice to have category. Get yourself one, don't, whatever, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a nice addition to my gear repertoire. Okay. Last thing before the surprise. Race shoes. Here's my thing with race shoes. In 2020, like I said earlier, I ran a great race in my everyday training shoes. I didn't even know race shoes were a thing. Could I have run faster if I spent $220, $275 on a pair of carbon-plated shoes? Probably. So that's the trade-off you have to determine whether it's worth it for you. They're $200+. They feel a lot different than your everyday shoes. However, I think it's pretty safe to say it's proven now that they're gonna give you some time in your race. They might cut off a minute, 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how much total time you're out there. The carbon-plated shoes will help you run faster. I think that's a fact. Whether you want to spend the money on those, that's up to you. And that's why it's in my nice to have category. I love these shoes, the Endorphin Pro 3s. I believe they just came out with the Pro 4s, so I might check those out. Why I love these shoes, I've run in the Nike Vaporflies or whatever, the $300 shoes. I've run in the Endorphin Speeds from Saucony. I love these because they have a carbon plate in them, but they feel like normal shoes. They don't feel like space shoes like the Nike shoes do. They also fit my feet great. They're a little wider than the Nikes as well. I blistered up with the Nikes. I haven't had any problems with these, and I run really fast in them. And gotta love the white and gold colorway. So if you're trying to run fast, if you've been working your butt off, I think it's a great reward for your hard training to feel fresh and fast on race day. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. Should you have them? I would say but they're nice to have. Get them if you want them. I love the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3s. Okay, last piece of gear. We're going to go to the floor for this surprise. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm excited. Okay, who cares? Let me give a shit.
I just got done with a run. Little hat hair. This is not about me. This is about this. Ooh. So this box right here has been on my floor for weeks. It represents the procrastinator in me. I don't like that shit. And I'm opening this shit right now. This is the mystery box. It's getting opened. Let's go. Box within a box. It rocks, it rocks. Did I cut myself? That's what we got. A little ice bath. Fill up. Get in there. We're gonna give this a go. We'll just check back in 11 hours when that fills. Oh, it's a little frosty. Okay, the deed is done. I told you I've been prepping for this for weeks. So I got my homemade ice balls. Yes, ice balls. Dude, look at these things. You could seriously injure somebody with one of these bad boys. I got 5 of these suckers. I'm gonna use 3, see if it ices down that ice bath. Oh, fuck. All right, we'll let those marinate for about 2-3 minutes, and then we're getting in there. That they don't look that big in all that water. Don't think that's gonna really ice it down. This is how you learn, you know? Shit. Okay, they are not melting. They're also not like they're floating in the water. So that tells me the water's pretty cold though. And just by putting my hand in there, it is pretty cold. So no time like the present. We're gonna hop in and see what happens. Oh. Oh shit. Okay. Yes. Oh. Yeah, it's cold. Holy fuck. All right. Oh. Oh. Yeah, it's cold. All right, we just did a few minutes. I'm shivering. Thanks for watching. New video coming soon. Holla.